Don't buy a camper van until you ask yourself this one question. Today we're going to look into the world of van life, and before you press that buy button to buy a camper van, there's a couple of things that you need to know. There's also one important question that you need to ask yourself. Stick around to the end, guys, because this answer might actually save you some money. So, you're dreaming of the open road, you want to get out there with the cosy charm of having your home on wheels with you. But before you commit, realistically ask yourself, are you going to be using it, or is it just going to be parked up on your drive gathering dust? If you're thinking about getting into van life, a lot of us would get caught up in the romance of it, thinking about the beautiful sunsets, the mountain views that you're going to get, waking up in the morning, going down to the beach, going for a swim and things. And whilst things like that can happen, again, realistically, if you don't use your camper van, it ain't going to happen, is it? We've just done a video celebrating our 5 years of van life, and from that video, you know, we spoke about like some of the people that like commit to van life, you know, they buy a camper van and things, and then unfortunately for different reasons, they can't actually use it. Now, I did mention in that video that like a lot of people said that they don't have time when they've got a camper van to actually get out there and explore. But as I said before, time, it's no one's friend. A lot of you commented on that video as well, saying that, you know, you would love to get into van life and things, but they can't commit to it because like they know that they won't actually have time to use the camper van. There's alternatives that you can do to get out there and explore. Now, glamping's one of them. Now, we have been on a lot of glamping trips, but we're going to talk about more of that later on in the video. So, you're thinking of committing to van life. Let's get a reality check first of all. Initially, it's quite expensive. Getting into van life, it's an expensive thing to do because obviously you've got the cost of buying your van and then it's the conversion of the van. Now, a lot of people, you know, they can convert the van themselves, you know, because they've got the skills to do things like that. But unfortunately, some of us, like myself, we don't actually have the skills to do something like that, and we can only do basic jobs with your camper van. That means it's going to be quite costly to go to conversion companies and get like the units and like get the build that you actually want. Yes, it does cost money, quite a lot of money, to get like you started in van life. But that is not the real financial issue, because if your van is just parked on the drive and you're not using it, that's where the financial cost is just going to burn all your money. If your van is sat idle on the drive, you've still got maintenance costs that you need to pay, you've still got to pay your road tax, your insurance, and also if you store your van sort of like, you know, like in a private area or private grounds, you've got storage fees as well. Now, if your camper van sat idle for a long time, as most of you will know because it happens with a lot of vehicles, leave it sat idle for a long time, you get to it, then you've got battery issues, you've got running issues, and then before you even do anything, you have to take a trip to the garage. It sounds like I'm hating a little bit on van life, but like I said, there's a lot of people out there that they love the idea of van life, but then realistically when they jump into it, they find that they're actually not like using the camper van. Another question that you need to ask yourself is about your own well-being, because everybody's got their own struggles in life and everyone deserves to be happy. If something is preventing you from achieving your own happiness or your own personal goals, regardless if you have a mental health issue like anxiety or depression, at the end of the day, you're just a human that's trying to get by in this world. Therapy can give you the tools that you need to approach these situations in a different way, and that is why I'm happy to tell you about BetterHelp. This is a paid promotion with BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy accessible for all, and this is a very important mission for BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easy because it's remote and it's online. All you have to do is fill out a questionnaire online and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. Click the first link in the description and not only will you be supporting our channel, but you'll also get 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. Finding a therapist is a little bit like online dating. You might not always find the perfect match. If this happens with you, the good thing is with BetterHelp is you can just move on to another therapist and it doesn't cost you any extra. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the first link in the description or go to www.betterhelp.com/dubventures. Thank you again to BetterHelp for supporting our channel. So let's consider a few scenarios. If you buy a camper van because you know you want to go and explore and things, I would say minimum, you've got to use your camper van once a month if you want to go and travel and explore. If you look at, like I said, the tax cost, the insurance cost, the maintenance cost, the storage cost, if you can justify paying that, but you know that you're going to go on one trip like once a month, like maybe a weekend away or something, I would say, you know, if you're a weekend warrior, then van life, you know, it could be for you, and I would say go for it and get out there and get some exploring done and join the van life movement. But here's something you've got to consider. So, you know that you're doing your one monthly trip every month. Now, the weekend that you're going to do your trip on, let's just say you've had a very busy week at work, you're really tired, you know, you've got like family commitments and things. Let's just say it comes to that weekend, you know, you've got this amazing weekend planned where you're going hiking, you're going exploring. but unfortunately the weather isn't the best. The weather doesn't bother you and the environment doesn't bother you in that way, and you know that you're going to use your camper van once a month, go for it. Now here's the other thing, if you're not in a position that you can actually get a camper van, there is the option where if you want to like go exploring and sort of like experience that sort of like, you know, that, I say it's like the van life experience, but it's not, but it's like, I would say it's the next best thing because we've done it a lot, is you can go glamping. Now there's a lot of places where you can go glamping and it's actually in campsites and things. It's got all the facilities of like different campsites and so on. So if you know that like, you know, you can't commit to, you know that you might not be doing more than one trip a month in your camper van, and you want to get out there and explore, there is so many places that you can go to with glamping. The other option that you've got as well, if you know that you can't commit to sort of like, you know, having van life as something that like you do on a regular basis, you can rent camper vans as well. There's so many places that rent camper vans, but just be aware at different times of the years when it's in peak season, the cost of renting a camper van, it can be quite expensive. So here's the big question, is van life for you? Do you know what? I would say that if you're watching this video, you're obviously interested in van life and, you know, the things that, you know, it can do, where you can be out there, you know, and give you the freedom and everything. I would say if it's something you want to do, you should do it and commit to it because it's an amazing lifestyle. Van life is amazing, but realistically, it's not for everyone. Work out if you are going to get a camper van, are you going to be using it more than it's going to be parked up? Ask yourself these questions and remember, a successful van life adventure is making certain that your dream lines up with reality. So today we're actually staying at a campsite, and you know what, this is a really nice campsite and it's really cold. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our 5 years of experience of van life and we're going to put together some tips that are going to help you with your camper vanning. We're actually with some friends at this campsite as well, and what we're going to do is we're going to speak to some of the guys that we're with and we're going to find out and get some tips off them about what are the most essential items to have when you're on your van life journey. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the most essential items that you take with you on your camp van trip. Now, the first camp van trip here, and he says it's essential items whiskey. And to be fair, if it's going to whiskey, if it's going to warm you up and everything, that's
how many whiskies have you had this one?
What would you say, Brooke, our most essential camp van item is for us on our camp van journeys?
Ridge Monkey.
Ridge Monkey. We use our Ridge Monkey pans for everything, and it's so easy to cook with them. So, Conrad, what would you say is your most essential item that you take with you on your camp van journeys?
It's definitely going to be like a Ridge Monkey set.
Now, that's what we just said.
Seriously?
Exactly the same thing.
Oh,
exactly
God.
the same thing. For Will, it's whiskey. And for you, it's Ridge Monkey as well.
There we go.
Quick question. What is the most important for you essential item that you take on your camp van journeys?
Food.
Food?
Yeah.
What's you, Jim?
For me,
Yeah, he's had a bit of time to think about this one now.
No,
Go on.
Yeah, you caught me off
sleep
guard.
system.
Sleep system.
Hands down, mate. A decent sleep system so that you're not cold.
So the correct like sleeping
Yeah.
bags and
That's
diesel
right.
heater and like electric hookup with a heater and things. And
Decent sleeping bag so you get a good night's sleep so you can enjoy the daytime when you're away in your van.
exactly. And coming to you guys, very quickly, what would you say is the most essential thing that you bring to your camp van journey?
Alcohol.
Yeah?
And good friends.
Yes.
Good answer. Another essential that we like take as well, and this is just like adding on to what we said, is having a good power station. We found that like having a really good power station that can like power all your needs, such as the EcoFlow systems that we use, that's such a big game changer in van life. Van life essential for us, and this is something we've learned over the years, is optimizing the space that you have in your camper van. We know so many people that have bought like an already converted camper van because they've gone for like all the toys and all the bells and whistles and things, but then very quickly found out that they don't actually use any of the items or the way that the storage systems and things like that is set up. If you're going to do a self-built camper van, do what works for you, like work out what's important for you. One thing that you need to take into consideration when you're embarking on your camper van like van life journey is it's your bed system. Now we have had it where we've actually slept like on a block mattress and everything. Now that's adequate and it is a comfy night's sleep, but it might not be for everybody. There's also like rock and roll beds, and you've got your RIB beds. It's something that you really need to look into. Don't just get whatever bed is offered to you and like what's there at that time. Work it out and work out what size bed you need and everything, because if you've got pets and things like that, you got to think about that as well. When you've figured out your essentials, it's then time to get on the road. So it's time to relax now and just like enjoy this weekend away and just feel like what van life is all about. Van life is a way of life, and you know what, when you sort of like, you know, get into it and you realise that like, you know, how it works for you, and just get out there and do it and actually put the effort in to sort of like use your camper van and not just leave it parked up. It's a lifestyle that it opens so many opportunities for you, and do you know what? When you get into it, you will do whatever it takes to make sure that you can get away, enjoy yourself and live your life, because you only have one life. Live it.